So today I'm going to take a look at this article on the United Nations website. So we can see here the title is Outreach Programme on the Transatlantic Slave Trade and Slavery. If we go down, it says it's a 2008 Remembrance Programme, in quotes, breaking the silence lest we forget. So it goes on to describe how horrendous the slave trade was, the transatlantic slave trade. But there's a paragraph down here, so under this section, background, it says slavery and the slave trade are one of the worst violations of human rights in the history of humanity. So clearly that's correct. Nobody with any morals would disagree with that. But then it goes on to say the transatlantic slave trade was unique within the entire history of slavery due to its duration of 400 years, its scale, approximately 17 million people excluding those who died during transport, and the legitimisation accorded to it under laws of the time. Now, what struck me about this is the way that it says it's actually unique, because clearly it's not unique, or at least it's different to some of the other slave trades. If we look here, this Wikipedia article about history of slavery in the Muslim world. So in the kind of Arab and Muslim world, slavery went on for something like 1300 years. We can go down here. It gives various bits of information about different parts of the world. You can obviously go and read this yourself as usual. I'll put the URLs into the description. But in the article, it does talk about when slavery was ended in various Muslim and Arab countries, and in some cases it was actually well into the 20th century, even into the 1960s and beyond. So if we go back to this article here, so transatlantic slave trade was unique within the entire history of slavery due to its duration of 400 years. Well, no, it wasn't unique in that, because the slave trade in the Muslim and Arab world went on actually for over 3 times that long. The scale, yeah, I mean, that potentially might be true. I know there's a lot of estimates about how many people were taken by Arab slavers. Estimates vary. But I'm not going to kind of quibble about that. And then it also says that legitimisation accorded to it under laws of the time. Now, clearly it was legitimised in Arab and Muslim countries as well. So I think we can say that that statement is pretty wrong about the uniqueness. There's also another statement in here which kind of took issue with, because it talks about the abolition of the transatlantic slave trade, and it says that in 1807 Thomas Jefferson in the United States signed legislation abolishing the slave trade. Now that is actually true, but it was only the importation of slaves into America. It didn't actually abolish the domestic slave trade. So I find it quite interesting that this article thinks the transatlantic slave trade was unique. I mean, certainly all the slave trades were absolutely horrendous, but they do not mention the Arab or Muslim traders at all. And I know there are various people who tend to have a dim view of the United Nations, and certainly from reading this, that I think there's some distinct bias going on.